Nation set to observe National Mourning Day and 48th martyrdom anniversary of Father of the Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman tomorrow with due respect and solemnity. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to visit Tungibara tomorrow to pay tribute to Father of the Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. United Kingdom to continue its cooperation in Bangladesh's development efforts and enhance bilateral trade and investment for mutual benefits. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to open portion of elevated expressway on September 2 and Bangabandhu tunnel underneath Gornafuli River in Chattogram on October 28, says Obadul Qadir. Comments of BNP Secretary General prove that they are the chief patron of militants, says Dr. Hassan Mahmood. "18 more people die of dengue in 24 hours as death rate increasing severely, 2,480 others hospitalized. Anwarul Haq Kakar sworn in as 8th interim Prime Minister of Pakistan today. And Sweden to face Spain at semi-final of FIFA Women World Cup football tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum. This is News at 10 and I am Anika Amberin. Those were the highlights, now the details.
স্বাধীন দেশে রক্ত দিয়ে স্বাধীনতা এনেছি, এই স্বাধীনতা নিশ্চয়ই ইনশাআল্লাহ থাকবে, কেউ ধ্বংস করতে পারবে না। তবে স্বাধীনতা পিতা হয়ে যাবে যে বাংলার দুঃখী মানুষের মুখে হাসি ফুটাতে না পারো। সেই জন্য তোমাদের কাছে আমার আবেদন রইল, সৎপথে থেকো, খোদা নিশ্চয়ই তোমাদের সাহায্য করবে।
The nation is set to observe the National Mourning Day and 48th martyrdom anniversary of Father of the Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman tomorrow with due respect and solemnity. Bangabandhu and most of his family members were brutally killed by some disgruntled army men on the fateful night of August 15, 1975, and this carnage is touted as the ugliest chapter of the nation's history. Apart from Bangabandhu and his wife Bangamata Sheikh Fazilatun-Nisa Mujib, 26 other people including their family members and relatives were killed that day. The martyrs included Bangabandhu's eldest son Sheikh Kamal, second son Sheikh Jamal, two daughters-in-law Sultana Kamal and Perveen Jamal Rozi, youngest son 10-year-old Sheikh Russell, younger brother Sheikh Abu Nasir, nephew Sheikh Fazlul Haq Moni, along with his pregnant wife Begum Arju Moni and Bangabandhu's brother-in-law Abdul Rab Seniabat. Bangabandhu's chief security officer Colonel Jamiluddin Ahmed was also killed on the fateful night. Father of the nation's two daughters, Sheikh Hasina, now Prime Minister, and Sheikh Rihana escaped the planned assassination as they were staying abroad. On the eve of National Mourning Day, President Mohammad Shahabuddin and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina issued separate messages. In his message, President Mohammad Shahabuddin said Bangabandhu will remain an eternal source of inspiration not only for millions of Bengalis in this country, but also for freedom-seeking people of the world. In her message, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina said the killers were able to murder Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib, but they could not kill his dreams and ideals. Prime Minister urged all to resist all kinds of conspiracies to build a non-communal, hunger, poverty-free, prosperous Shonar Bangladesh as dreamt by Father of the Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. To mark the day, the government has chalked out elaborate programs including keeping the national flag half-mast atop of all government, semi-government, autonomous institutions, educational institutions as well as Bangladesh missions abroad. President Mohammad Shahabuddin and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will pay homage to Bangabandhu by placing wreaths at his portrait early in the morning in front of Bangabandhu Memorial Museum at Dhanmondi Road number 32 in the capital. The Prime Minister will also place wreaths at Banani Graveyard on the graves of the family members of Bangabandhu and other martyrs who were brutally killed on August 15, 1975. National dailies will publish special supplements, while Bangladesh Betar and Bangladesh Television will broadcast various programs recalling the brutal assassination of Bangabandhu. Dua and Milad Mahfil will also be arranged at mosques across the country, including Baitul Mukarram National Mosque after Zuhr prayers. Besides, special prayers will be offered at temples, churches and pagodas across the country to mark the National Mourning Day. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will go to Tungipara in Gopalganj tomorrow to pay tribute to Father of the Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman on his 48th martyrdom anniversary and National Mourning Day. All necessary preparations have already been taken, marking the visit of the Prime Minister. Sheikh Hasina will place wreaths at the mausoleum of Bangabandhu at Tungipara in this morning. A guard of honor will be given by a smartly turned out contingent drawn from the Bangladesh Army, Navy and Air Force on the occasion. The Premier will also take part in the Fatiha and special prayer after paying the tribute. Marking the visit of the Prime Minister, strict security measures have been taken in Tungipara. People of Tungipara, including Awami League leaders and activists, are ready to welcome the Prime Minister. Banners, festoons and gates have been installed at all main roads and points welcoming the Prime Minister. United Kingdom will continue its cooperation in Bangladesh's development efforts and enhance bilateral trade and investment for the mutual benefits. British High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Sarah Cook, said this when she called on Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina at Gano Bhavan in Dhaka today. While briefing the Newsman Prime Minister's press secretary's Rohingya issue, Sarah Cook put emphasis on education and skill development training for the Rohingyas so that they can be engaged in the restoration of democracy and establish voting rights of the people. In this regard, the Prime Minister mentioned that there were 19 attempts on her life, including the worst one on 21st August in 2004, in which 24 people, including Mohila Awami League leader Ivy Rahman, were killed. Besides, BNP Jamaat celebrated the victory in 2001 through unleashing a reign in terror, killing hundreds of people as well as raping and looting in villages across the country, she added. Sheikh Hasina said her government established freedom of expression and opened the media to the private sector. During the call-on, the British envoy said they want a free, fair and peaceful election in Bangladesh. Ambassador-at-Large Mohammad Ziauddin and Prime Minister's Principal Secretaries Fazal Hussain Mia were present. Speaker Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhary said putting smiles on the faces of the distressed people was the main philosophy of Bangabandhu's politics. Bangabandhu had deep patriotism for his country and immense love for Bengals. The Speaker said this while addressing a function marking the 48th martyrdom anniversary of Father of the Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and the National Mourning Day at Dhaka Club in the capital today. Commerce Minister Tipu Munshi, State Minister for Cultural Affairs K.M. Khalid, poet Kamal Chaudhary and fiction writer Imdadul Haq Milon spoke on the occasion. The Speaker said Bangabandhu's name will remain etched in the hearts of millions of Bengalis as long as there is Bangla and Bengali. Later, prayers were offered seeking eternal peace of the departed souls of Father of the Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and other martyrs of the National Mourning Day. Road Transport and Bridges Minister Obadul Qadir has said the portion of the elevated expressway between airport and Farmgate will be opened on September 2. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is expected to inaugurate it. In addition, the Prime Premier will inaugurate the Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman tunnel underneath the Ganufuli River in Chattogram on October 28. Obadul Qadir came up with the update at a briefing at the Shetu Bhavan in the capital's Banani today.
Agami 2 September, Dhaka elevated expressway এয়ারপোর্ট থেকে ফার্মগেট পর্যন্ত অংশের শুভ উদ্বোধন প্রধানমন্ত্রী দেশরত্ন শেখ হাসিনা প্রকল্পটির শুভ উদ্বোধন করবেন। এক্সপ্রেস যে উপর দিয়ে থ্রি হুইলার, বাইসাইকেল, পথচারী চলাচল করতে পারবে না। আপাতত মোটর বাইকও চলাচল করবে না। আগামী অক্টোবর মাসে মাঝামাঝি আগারগাঁও থেকে মতিঝিল পর্যন্ত এমআরটি লাইন 6 মেট্রো রেলের এই অংশের শুভ উদ্বোধন করবেন মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী দেশরত্ন শেখ হাসিনা। আগামী 28শে অক্টোবর চট্টগ্রামে বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিব কর্ণফুলী টানেলের শুভ উদ্বোধন করবেন।
Responding to queries from journalist Obadul Qadir, also the General Secretary of Awami League said that there is no use of daydreaming for the fall of the government. The next general election will be held in a participatory manner.
বিরোধী দলবিহীন নির্বাচন হবে, পার্টিসিপেশন হবে। এখন বিরোধী দল বলতে শুধু বিএনপিকে বোঝালো তো হলো না। এখন অনেক দল আছে, বিএনপির সাথেও তো 50টা না 52টা দল, কারণ এরা সবাই বিএনপির সাথে থেকে যাবে। আবার বিএনপির ভেতরে তারা সবাই যে ইলেকশন না করার প্রশ্নে ঐক্যবদ্ধ, এ কথাও বোধহয় একটু খবর নিলে জানা যাবে। আমাদের মেসেজ একটাই, নো কেয়ারটেকার, প্রাইম মিনিস্টার রেজিগনেশন নো, ডিসলিউশন অফ পার্লামেন্ট নো। সাংবিধানিক এই বিষয়গুলো এগুলো পরিবর্তনের কোনো সুযোগ নেই।
Bridges Division Secretary Monjur Hussain was present at the briefing. Information and Broadcasting Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood has said BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul's comments over the recent arrest of some militants in Kulaura Upazila of Maulavi Bazar district proved that he himself and his party leaders are the chief patrons of militant outfits. Referring to Mirza Fakhrul's remarks that the government staged a drama to divert the people's attention to other direction, the Information and Broadcasting Minister said this proves that BNP is the chief patron of militants. Dr. Hassan Mahmood said this while addressing a discussion on the occasion of National Mourning Day at National Press Club in Dhaka today. A platform of pro-liberation journalists organized the discussion.
মৌলভীবাজারে কুলাউড়ায় কয়েকজন জঙ্গি আটক হলো, সব মিলিয়ে 13 জন। এবং এই জঙ্গি আটকের পর মির্জা ফখরুল ইসলাম আলমগীর সাহেব বললেন যে আন্দোলন ভিন্ন কাতে নেওয়ার জন্য, মানুষের দৃষ্টি সরানোর জন্য জঙ্গি নাটক সাজানো হয়েছে। যেমন চেয়ারম্যান তেমন মহাসচিব। বেগম খালেদা জিও বলেছিলেন, মনে আছে নিশ্চয়ই, যখন জঙ্গিদের বিরুদ্ধে সরকার কঠোর ব্যবস্থা নিচ্ছিল, অনেক জঙ্গি আটক হচ্ছিল, তখন বেগম খালেদা জিয়া বলেছিলেন যে কিছু মানুষকে ধরে নিয়ে যাওয়া হয় এবং কিছুদিন তাদেরকে আটক করে রাখা হয়, যখন চুলদাড়ি লম্বা হয় তখন তাদেরকে জঙ্গি আখ্যা দেওয়া হয়। এটি বলেছিলেন খালেদা জিয়া। আর এখন মির্জা ফখরুল ইসলাম আলমগীর সাহেব বলছেন মানুষের দৃষ্টি ভিন্ন খাতে নেওয়ার জন্য নাকি এই জঙ্গি নাটক সাজানো হয়েছে। এতেই প্রমাণিত হয় জঙ্গি গোষ্ঠীর প্রধান পৃষ্ঠপোষক হচ্ছে বিএনপি, মির্জা ফখরুল ইসলাম আলমগীর সাহেব সহ বিএনপির নেতৃবৃন্দ হচ্ছে জঙ্গি গোষ্ঠীর প্রধান পৃষ্ঠপোষক। এবং সেই কারণেই তারা যখন ক্ষমতায় ছিল 500 জায়গায় বোমা ফুটেছিল, শাহেখ আব্দুর রহমান বাংলা বাহিনীর উৎপত্তি হয়েছিল এবং জঙ্গিদের দিয়ে হাওয়া ভবন, তারেক জিয়া 21 আগস্টের ঘটনা ঘটিয়েছে। সুতরাং এই দেশে তাদের বক্তব্যের মাধ্যমে তারা স্বীকার করে নিয়েছে, মির্জা ফখরুল ইসলাম তার এই বক্তব্যের মাধ্যমে স্বীকার করে নিয়েছেন জঙ্গি গোষ্ঠীর প্রধান পৃষ্ঠপোষক হচ্ছে এই বিএনপি এবং বিএনপি নেতৃবৃন্দ। আমরা এটার তীব্র নিন্দা জানাই। আমরা জঙ্গি নির্মূল করতে পারতাম, আমরা জঙ্গি দমন করেছি, আমরা নির্মূল করতে পারতাম, তারা যদি জঙ্গি গোষ্ঠীকে পৃষ্ঠপোষকতা না করতে পারে। তো যারা জঙ্গি গোষ্ঠীর পৃষ্ঠপোষক, জঙ্গিদের লালন পালন করে, তাদেরকে কোনো বিদেশি শক্তি সমর্থন করে না, আর দেশের জনগণ তো তাদের সাথে নাই। আজকে যদি রাজনীতিকে সঠিক খাতে প্রবাহিত করতে হয়, মুক্তিযুদ্ধের চেতনা যেটি ৭৫-এর পরে যেটিকে নির্বাসিত করা হয়েছিল, ভুলুণ্ঠিত করা হয়েছিল, সেই মুক্তিযুদ্ধের চেতনাকে যদি সর্বস্তরে প্রতিষ্ঠিত করতে হয়, তাহলে এই অপরাজনীতি, জঙ্গি গোষ্ঠীর পৃষ্ঠপোষকতার রাজনীতি এবং জিঘাংসার রাজনীতি, প্রতিহিংসার রাজনীতি, 15 আগস্ট ভুয়া জন্মদিন পালন করে কেক কাটার রাজনীতি, জন্মদিন পালন করার রাজনীতি, এগুলো চিরতরে বন্ধ হওয়া দরকার।
Speaking on the occasion, Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen said the government will reward the individuals who can provide information about the absconding killers of Bangabandhu.
এর মধ্যে দুইজনের খবর আমরা জানি। এই দুইজন, একজন আমেরিকায় থাকে রাশিদ চৌধুরী, আর একজন নূর চৌধুরী থাকে কানাডায়। এরা এই কয়েক বছরে তাদের অনেক রকমের পরিবর্তন হয়েছে। আমি তবু আমার সব দেশবাসীকে বলবো যে আপনারা এই 5 জন যাদের আমরা এখনো কোনো ঠিকানা পাইনি, এদের তথ্য দিলে ইউ উইল বি রিওয়ার্ডেড। আমরা পুরস্কার ঘোষণা করছি, যেই এদের তথ্য দিতে পারবে সরকার তাদের রিওয়ার্ড দিবে। আপনারা সাংবাদিক, বুদ্ধিজীবী, আপনারা এটা জুড়ে সুরে লিখেন যে কানাডার মতো, আমেরিকার মতো, যেখানে আইন অত্যন্ত শক্তিশালী, যারা আইনের দেশ, সেইখানে দে শুড নট শেল্টার দি মার্ডারার। সেই দুজন, একজন আমেরিকা, একজন কানাডায়। আমি ওখানে প্রবাসীদেরও বলবো যে আপনারা প্রত্যেক সপ্তাহে, না পারলে অ্যাটলিস্ট একবার মাসে, এই খুনির বাড়ির সামনে গিয়ে ডেমনস্ট্রেশন করেন। তারা মনোপীড়ায় দুঃখ পায়, কারণ তারা দিব্যি ঘুরে বেড়াচ্ছে। আর আমরা আমাদের যত ধরনের প্রচেষ্টা, সরকারি প্রচেষ্টা, এইখানে আমরা করে যাচ্ছি।
Presided over by President of the organization Iqbal Subhan Chaudhry, the function was also addressed by President of BFUJ Umar Farooq, President of Jatiyo Press Club Farida Yasmin, Senior Journalist Manjurul Ahsan Bulbul, Abdul Jalil Bhuiya, and President of DUJ Sohail Haidar Chaudhry.
Okay.
সেই যে আমি বাড়ি ছেড়ে গেলাম, এরপর থেকে আর কোনোদিন আমার মা, বাবা, ভাই বোন কাউরে কোনোদিন চোখে দেখলাম না।
The dengue situation in the country is worsening day by day. A press release of the Directorate General of Health Services said 18 more dengue patients died in the last 24 hours. Of them, 11 were in Dhaka and 7 were outside Dhaka. 2,480 dengue patients were admitted to different hospitals across the country during the last 24 hours. Among them, 919 dengue patients were hospitalized in Dhaka city and 1,561 patients outside Dhaka. Meanwhile, no patient died of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. The country reported 43 COVID-19 positive cases as 2,057 tested in the last 24 hours. corona infection rate was reported at 2.09%. Now, international news. Little-known Senator Anwarul Haq Kakar has been sworn in today as Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister to see the country through to an election due in months. Kakar, clad in a grey suit, was administered an oath by President Arif Alvi in a ceremony held at the Iwan-e-Sadr in Islamabad, which coincided with the Independence Day. Kakar, 52, takes charge of a country that has been wrecked by political and economic instability for months, with Imran Khan, Pakistan's most popular politician, in jail and disqualified from elections for 5 years. Reports say Kakar's first task will be to choose a cabinet to run the country as it heads into an election period that could last for months. Parliament was officially dissolved last week, with elections due within 90 days according to the constitution. Niger's military says it will prosecute deposed President Mohamed Bazoum for treason hours after a group of senior Islamic scholars said the country's coup leaders are open to diplomacy to resolve their standoff with West Africa's regional bloc. In a statement read out on national television late on Sunday, a spokesman for Niger's military laid out the charges against Bazoum as high treason and undermining the internal and external security of the country. Bazoum, 63, and his family have been held at the president's official residence in Niamey since the coup on July 26, with international concern mounting over their conditions in detention. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has called for Bazoum's reinstatement, imposing severe economic sanctions on Niger and threatening military intervention if civilian rule is not restored. Russian shelling killed 7 people, including a 23-day-old infant, and wounded at least 22 people in Ukraine's southern region of Kherson. According to officials, the infant's parents and her 12-year-old brother also died in the Russian attack on the village of Shirok-Belka. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky pledged a response to the attack. He said there has been 17 reports of shelling in the Kherson region alone, as well as incidents in the region of Mykolaiv, Zaporizhia, Donbas, Kharkiv, and in border areas of the country's northeast. In Russia, the defense ministry said air defenses shot down at least 5 Ukrainian drones in the west of the country. These included 4 over the Belgorod region and another over the Kursk region. Belgorod Governor Vyacheslav Gladlov announced a state of emergency in the border region, sharing images of damage to an apartment building he said had been caused by a Ukrainian drone. He said there were no casualties from the attack. An approaching typhoon battered communities along Japan's Pacific coast today, with heavy rain and crashing waves prompting authorities to warn about landslides and flooding. On track to hit the main island of Honshu early tomorrow, land was expected to dump up to 40 centimeters of rain in the 24 hours in some areas. Japan Meteorological Agency said. Some towns would see gusts up to 162 kilometers per hour today, packing up to 180 kph on Tuesday when the system slams into Honshu, the agency said. The storm was forecast to make landfall on the southern tip of the Kii Peninsula, some 600 kilometers west of the Tokyo, before making a beeline inland for Osaka, western Japan's main city. Now some other international news in brief. Taiwan's vice president has declared that the self-governed island will not back down in the face of authoritarian threats after China pledged to take forceful and resolute measures following his stopover in the United States. A far-right populist candidate, Javier Milei, has rocked Argentina's political establishment, emerging as the biggest vote-getter in a primary election to choose nominees for presidential elections in October. German Finance Minister Christian Lindner said on Monday his country stood shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine as he arrived in Kiev for his first visit since the start of the war.
On Russia visible in the financial markets reactions.
More than 50 people have been killed, 9 of them in a temple collapse, and dozens more are feared missing after intense rains caused floods and landslides in India, officials said Monday. Wild chimpanzees are under threat from deforestation and the bushmeat trade, but scientists now believe there are grounds for optimism as humans were now finding new ways to live with nature, and nature was resilient, taking back some of the land that had been lost.
Are twice his size. They squabble to protect their position.
Now, weather. Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said light to moderate rain or thunder showers accompanied by temporary gusty wind is likely to occur at most places over Rangpur, Mymensingh, Borishal, Chattogram and Sylhet divisions, and at many places over Dhaka, Khulna and Rajshahi divisions. Besides, moderately heavy to heavy falls likely to occur at places over the country. Day and night temperature may remain nearly unchanged over the country, said the Met Office. Now, international news. Sweden will face Spain in the first semi-final of the FIFA Women's World Cup football tomorrow. The match will start at 2 p.m. Bangladesh Standard Time in Auckland, New Zealand. Earlier, the Spanish girls reached the semi-finals of the Women's World Cup for the first time by defeating the Netherlands by 2-1 in the quarter-finals. Sweden beat former champions Japan by 2-1 in their other quarter-final to reach the semi-final. To end the bulletin headlines once again. Nation set to observe National Mourning Day and 48th Martyrdom Anniversary of Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, tomorrow with due respect and solemnity. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to visit Tungipar tomorrow to pay tribute to Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. United Kingdom to continue its cooperation in Bangladesh's development efforts and enhance bilateral trade and investment for mutual benefits. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to open portion of elevated expressway on September 2 and Bangabandhu tunnel underneath Gornofuli River in Chattogram on October 28, says Obadul Qadir. Comments of BNP Secretary General prove that they are the chief patron of militants, says Dr. Hassan Mahmoud. 18 more people die of dengue in 24 hours as death rate increasing severely. 2,480 others hospitalized. Anwar al-Haqqaqi sworn in as 8th interim Prime Minister of Pakistan today. And Sweden to face Spain at semi-final of FIFA Women's World Cup football tomorrow. And that's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us, and we invite you to watch our next bulletin that's coming up at 11:30. Until then, Khuda Hafiz.